Hi everyone, I am thrilled to share the details regarding how to set and track your macronutrients for the fast way to fat loss. As you know, we are tracking macros, which are your carbohydrates, fats, and protein through the program. We are not counting calories. We are simply ensuring that we are having enough of the right nutrients so that we can fuel our workouts and effectively burn fat. I am going to show you some examples of how to set your macros from the website version of MyFitnessPal. You are also welcome to use the mobile version. I personally use the mobile version on a regular basis, so go ahead and visit the App Store, download that mobile version of MyFitnessPal right there on your mobile device. I am going to share my screen with you and walk you through the website version of MyFitnessPal so you can see where to go to set those macros. If you're on the homepage of MyFitnessPal and you're hoping to set your goals, simply click on the Settings tab of MyFitnessPal. One thing to keep in mind before we move on is that each and every one of us has unique goals. Each and every one of us will have different macros. I will show you an example of my typical macros, but I want you to be sure to understand that you will not have the same macronutrient goals that I have, nor will you have the same macronutrient goals that other people in our group page will have. So there's no need to compare or to send me a message and say, Amanda, I noticed that I'm consuming more carbs than so-and-so, and Sally's having less fat. That is not productive and that is not necessary. You will have different goals based on your height and weight, based on your background, based on your activity level. If you're on the mobile version, you will go into the homepage of MyFitnessPal, click on the lower right-hand side where it says More, and then you will simply click on the Goals tab. On the website version, again, we go to Settings, then I'm going to go to Update Diet and Fitness Profile. Here I'm going to add my starting weight, which is really the only time that your starting weight matters. You guys know that I do not have you hop on the scale after the initial weigh-in, after the initial day that we take measurements. Go ahead and add your starting weight. Go ahead and add current weight, which seems very similar to starting weight. So I'm actually going to add my starting weight as 115. My starting weight is 125 and current weight is 125. And then my goal weight is 118. I'm 5'3" on a good day, probably closer to 5'2". I'm going to add my gender, my birth date, and then we're going to add our normal activity level. Most of us will select active for this normal daily activity level. If you're engaging the fast way to fat loss workouts and you're typically working or you're a stay-at-home mom and you're fairly sedentary through the day, but you're still getting through that workout, I would go ahead and select active. If you've chosen to only focus on the nutrition portion of the fast way to fat loss and you are not engaging in workouts, let's go ahead and select lightly active. But again, most of us will have the activity level of active. If you decide to select lightly active, that's completely fine. You do not have to let me know. You do not have to ask questions about it on our page. Just simply use your common sense in this case. I'm going to select that I will plan to work out 5 times per week. We do 5 workouts per week on the fast way to fat loss. Additionally, we do 2 rest days. Now we're going to select our goal in regard to weight loss. This is where it gets just a little bit tricky because, as you know, weight loss is not our goal. We are hoping to burn fat effectively, and muscle weighs more than fat. Additionally, we are not using a calories in, calories out philosophy. So later on, when I talk through MyFitnessPal, you'll see that we are not adding our workouts into the settings on MyFitnessPal. Most of us are going to select that we would like to lose 0.5 pounds per week. This is for those of us who have maybe 5 to 10 pounds, 15 pounds to lose. If you have quite a bit of weight to lose, if you're coming to me for the faster way to fat loss and you're hoping to lose 60 pounds, let's go ahead and select that we would like to lose 1 pound per week. Very, very important note. After we select the weight loss goal, we will see the macronutrient goals that MyFitnessPal recommends. We will follow that for a few days and really listen to our bodies and see how we feel. If you select that you would like to lose 0.5 pounds per week, so half a pound per week, and 3 or 4 days into the faster way to fat loss, you're like, Amanda, I am absolutely famished at the end of the day. I need more food. Or, Amanda, I am so full, my husband has to roll me away from the dinner table because I can't take another bite. It's really important that we practice some intuitive eating and listen to our bodies when it comes to the macro goals. Also, another important note, which I don't want to be overwhelming or confusing, but at some point through the next 6 weeks, we will need to discuss adjusting macros. All of you will see amazing results if you stick with the list of approved foods, pair the workouts with the food cycle, and follow the macro recommendations. However, our goal and what we will accomplish is that we're going to increase the amount of lean calorie burning muscle you have. We're going to speed up your metabolism. At some point, we will need to make adjustments to your macros, which is where we come back into the settings, we revisit, we readjust, and I will walk you through that. I will talk you through the details of if, when, and how to adjust to those macros. So again, I'm going to select lose half a pound per week. If you have quite a bit to lose coming into the Faster Way to Fat Loss, go ahead and select lose 1 pound per week, even 1.5 pounds per week. I'm then going to click Update Profile, and it functions the same way on the mobile device. The recommendation for me for the particular macronutrients is as follows. I am recommended to consume 219 grams of carbohydrates, 58 grams of fat, and 88 grams of protein. The breakdown for a regular macro day is going to be 50% of my overall macros are carbohydrates, 20% are protein, and 30% is fat. That is important to note. And again, this is for a regular macro day. As you know from watching the training video with the overview of the food cycle, we do have different goals on a low carb day. On a low carb day, we're consuming less than 50 grams of net carbs. We're going to still consume the same amount of protein, and fat will fill in the rest. If you didn't have the chance to watch that video, please go ahead and watch that video. On a low macro day, we're going to have 25% less macros across the board. For example, right now, my goal is 219 grams of carbs per day on a regular macro day. I'm going to take 219 times 0.25 equals 54.75. So we'll round that up to 55. I'm going to say 219, which is a regular macro day recommendation for carbs, minus 55 equals 164. So I will consume roughly 164 grams of carbohydrates on a low macro day. Very, very important to note. Now, a couple quick notes for you as we move on is that you will be required to post your macro screenshot on a daily basis on our community Facebook page. The way that you do that, specifically if you're using the mobile app, is you will log your food. And the cool thing about MyFitnessPal is it has a phenomenal database, which is why I actually use MyFitnessPal instead of other apps. We're going to log our food. I'm going to click on lunch. Today for lunch, I'm having some baked cod, so I'm going to select baked cod. It's probably going to be about 6 ounces of baked cod, so I will select that in my serving sizes. I'm also going to have some lima beans, so I will add that, lima beans and bacon. I'm going to add 1 cup of lima beans. I'm going to add a little bit of bacon on here. It is a low carb day today, so bacon, I'll have 2 pieces. If you then scroll to the bottom of your food diary, you have the option of clicking on this little pie chart icon, which says nutrition. So I will click on that pie chart icon, and here I can see that I've had 36 grams of carbohydrates so far with simply my lunch. I've had 8 grams of fat, and I've had 48 grams of protein. That is simply with my lunch. Now that actually seems a little bit off since I did have so much bacon, so I'll have to check that later, but I will check that after we are finished with this training call. But there you can see how to actually pull up the pie chart. And again, what I want you to do is to post a screenshot of your macronutrients each and every day on our community Facebook page. So you'll simply take a screenshot of that particular pie chart. I will post a thread. It will say Tuesday macro update thread. You will then add this photo to that thread so I can ensure, and so my Fast Way to Fat Loss certified coaches can ensure that you are consuming enough of the right nutrients. It's so imperative that we're eating enough so that we maintain proper energy, we're able to crush our workouts, we're able to rev up our thyroid function, and we are ultimately able to burn fat effectively. Couple other notes. As I mentioned earlier, you do not have to add your exercise to the MyFitnessPal app. It will ask you if you'd like to add your exercise before you complete the entry for the day. No need to do that since this is not a calories in, calories out program. Your protein will stay fairly stable the entire week on the cycle besides low macro day. That's very, very important to note. Whether it's low carb day or regular macro day, your protein will stay stable. The exception would be on our rest day, which is a low macro day, where you have 25% less protein overall. Another quick note, on a low carb day, you will have more fats. I mentioned that on the overview of the food cycle video. Sometimes my clients freak out because they see that fat just completely overtakes their pie chart and they think, oh my gosh, I've gone over in fat. But here's the deal. Fat will not make you fat, specifically on our low carb day. We actually want to have more fit fats from nuts, from meats, from avocado, from coconut oil. So that's very positive. I hope this was even just a little bit helpful as you work to set and track your macros. Post any questions below and we are happy to answer those for you.